Hey everyone, my name is Tom Bly11, and we are seconds away from I'm Going In Starting Up. It's the newest podcast sharing stories of adversity, strength, and love from some amazing guests. So here we go. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. We're here with Clay Worrell, and thank you for being on I'm Going In. I'm super excited for this podcast because it really tells the story of when we decided to face the adversity, face the demon, face the fear. What was that like? And then that moment when you say, I've had it, I'm going in, and that's it. And you put your boot forward and you don't stop. And man, I'll tell you, I've had some amazing conversation with you, and it instant connection. We were just talking about it. And I want to really share this. By the way, this is like an impromptu, hey, you want to do a podcast? And this is how this started. So I really appreciate you doing that, brother. But Clay,
Yeah.
where did, we were talking about it the other day and your journey. Can you share with people just kind of where you were at and just talk what your journey is? I have
Yeah.
victory now. It's so amazing.
Well, and you and I sharing, I guess you'd call it the green room. We're talking about maybe society, our environment, atmosphere, and people that have been through trauma, and
Mhm.
people that have seen darkness, and people how it's one of those things in life where that trauma, the darkness, the pain, the loneliness, uh, how that pain and trauma and coming out of that, it brings us together. I mean, it
Mhm.
brings us together, and there's a relatability between me and you and so many men and women, but we're driving at the men here. And it's a darkness that, as a child, I, I woke up happy. I think I was born happy. You know
We
what I
all
mean?
were, right?
I
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like my whole life, I've always had a really positive attitude. And, you know, growing up on the farm from 9 years old and cropping backer and growing up lower income to poor, setting my sights on not living in poverty, jumping out in real estate, making a bunch of money and buying the houses, and then in corporate America being voted top general manager out of
Mhm.
378 nationwide at 26 years
Wow.
old with a Fortune 100 company. Now, if you looked at that and then you saw the young man, the awarded athlete, and these other things, it looks like a storybook. But what maybe the other side is, along with that come alcohol and come the occasional use of cocaine. And along with that came, and maybe what brings me to that place of relatability with so many others is my identity, my
Mhm.
identity as a human being, as a human, a raw child, a human was so wrapped in these titles and accomplishment. And September 2nd, 2001, I was shot in the head point blank with a 9 millimeter.
Jeez.
And I ended up losing all the material things, my marriage, the houses and the boats and the Harleys and all this other stuff, but went into a depression. And when I say depression, the only way people ask, because it doesn't seem right when they're talking to me. They're like, I can't believe that you went through that. Well, I mean, I went weeks and didn't look in a mirror.
Wow.
Um, I went weeks and didn't bathe or brush my teeth. I felt like for more than a year that I was in a really small closet with no windows and no anything, and it was cold, and there was just a small little bitty blanket in there, and you're in that complete darkness with no sound and no light, no hope. And I discovered over 12 years of being homeless and being in 25 plus detox units, 20 plus hospitals, 4 inpatient programs, 3 psych wards, declared dead twice. They say 3 times, I only accept twice, overdosing. How could an elite minded man with so much discipline and grit, obvious intelligence, to take a Fortune 100 company with a bunch of moving pieces that handled tens of millions of dollars, that was so esteemed, and how could that guy end up being in that little closet and checking his mailbox twice in a year's period of time? And I'll say that whether you were dodging, and taking bullets or going into burning houses, and man, I mean, just the sheer raw pain of watching life unfold in front of us. It's time. I mean, I believe with everything in me, with every ounce of everything that's in me, it's time for what you're doing, Brother Todd. It's time for what you and the Walking Tall. I mean, it's time for that movement to rise up. I mean, the masculine man, it's time for us to rise. We are men, and God made us that way.
That's right.
But you hear those stories of fearless warriors. There's not a fearless warrior on the planet. Fear exists. It's real. And you find people like me and you find others that, well, we set our fear aside and we march on. Sometimes into death, but always into victory, as that quote goes. I'll tell you, the scars on my body are no different than the scars on yours and others. And there's power when we come together. There's a message inside of you. There's a message inside of these men. There's a message inside of us that's more powerful than any darkness.
Mm-hmm.
There's a message of hope. There's a message of love. There's a message of encouragement. There's a message there. And I'm so excited just to be a part of what you're doing. And I yield myself to the movement. I yield my time. I yield myself. It's way, way bigger than imaginable.
Oh,
it
man.
really is.
You absolutely inspire me with just the way everything just flows out, and it's so raw and genuine. This is not rehearsed. This is you and the power of God and everything else just like literally speaking through you. It's absolutely amazing, and it's uplifting, and we need this message to be told. And, what was it when here you are, and this happens, you hear it all the time. Here you are, you're on top of the top.
Yes, sir.
What was that changing moment where that wasn't good enough, and the introduction to a lot of crazy stuff that altered your life's path happened? And then please touch on the moment, because obviously your injury and what happened and your portrayal of being in that dark room and secluded in the depressive state. But so first, what was that changing moment that you said, okay, I need more, I need the drugs, I need this? Talk about that. And then talk about when you decided, hold on, I'm going in for myself. I'm going in to help others.
Yes. Oh, wow. Well, contrary, I think, to a lot of, the talk, I guess you would say on the street, of addiction or chemical use or this or that is some type of thing where you're trying to mask, or you're trying to deal with trauma or pain. I mean, what about everything other than you're born with a pass to the ABC store and born. In other words, look how alcohol is accepted.
Yeah.
So for me, it was more of a success
Mm,
environment.
mm.
I mean,
That was your
who hasn't
victory.
done it? Yeah,
That was the gold medal that you were receiving when you
that's
got
it.
all these things. Yeah.
There's not a human on the planet that ever snorted a line of cocaine or drank. I mean, if it wasn't fun, people wouldn't do it. I often share, I'm like, you know, if alcohol or opiates or cocaine, I mean, if it was like sticking your finger in a light socket, we wouldn't have a national epidemic. I mean,
That's
we
true.
would, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't have 1 in 8 Americans has an AUD, alcohol use disorder, 1 in 8. So
Wow.
I am not, and they are not. We are not the Lone Rangers. Forty
That's right.
percent of the hospital beds, 40% of the hospital beds in America are occupied by one or more of the 200 known diseases and illnesses that alcohol brings. You know, I see people talk about addiction's a very natural thing to a human being. I mean, we get addicted to all kinds of stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Alcohol is very deceptive in that we think that it's helping us with, well, number one, it makes you more sociable. It takes away those fears of environment and social anxiety, and makes you feel more confident, those types of things. But it has the reverse effect. One drink a week, one drink a week lowers our threshold for stress and anxiety. The cortisol, I mean, the whole baseline just gets completely uh, distorted. And what we think we're doing to ease things, well, when I get off work, I have a couple of drinks and, mellow out, calm down. It does the opposite. So it's highly deceptive. But what happened with me is maybe I had something to prove to the world. Maybe I was mad because I'd worn shoes out of a trash dumpster as a kid and
Mm.
worked in the field since I was 9. And maybe I felt less than, or had something to prove to the world, or,
Now
you
look at
know,
me now.
yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure, but I'll tell you what I found. I found what you and what every man on this planet has found: the alphas, the elite minded, the high achieving men, the men that have gone out there and set some goals and utilized the element of grit. I mean, taking you beyond your fears, your doubts, even your own ignorance, just raw grit. What we found is when we go across the stage and get the award, we end up on TV, we end up with the medal, we end up with the stuff. Our brain immediately goes, now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah. It's not enough.
So we've been programmed. Our identity itself. I challenge our identity as a human being, the very majesty and beauty of being fearfully and wonderfully made. No one ever sitting us down and saying, there's no other human being out of 100 billion that have been on this planet that's ever been another Todd, and there never will be another Todd. And there is a divine purpose. There's a meaningful mission. There's a reason you're on this planet. Let's discover it.
That's right.
I mean, we get so wrapped around the axle of trying to outdo the Joneses that, and in a success mindset, what we end up with is total emptiness. We end up going through wives, going through relationships, our health deteriorates. And at some point, we look back at our life and we go, what about my mental health? What about my physical health? What about my spiritual health? What about my relational health? Man,
Yeah.
I mean, do you know something that's just so ironic? The most precious things on the entire planet can't be bought.
Mm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Love, relationship, peace, beautiful men. I mean, it can't be bought. So where do we find it? We find it with people just like you and the walk and tall movement coming out. Number one, if you're someone like you and I, and the thousands of others, millions of others that are out there, man, fear just doesn't stop us. I mean, it almost encourages us to do it. I mean, I
Yeah.
jumped out of a plane for no good reason other than I knew I was afraid to do it. That's been the story of my life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, wisdom sits me down and says, you know what? There's nothing more precious than that beautiful hand across from you. There's
That's right.
nothing more precious than that heart and that mind of that person that you're encountering. There's nothing more precious on the planet than a relationship and extending love and extending hope. And it's an action. You know,
Mhm.
love is in the Bible hundreds of times, but it's never translated into a feeling.
Mhm.
Love is not a feeling. Man, love is action.
That's
I
right.
mean, love is getting up, getting out of your comfort zone, and helping another man. That's the
Amen to
essence
that.
of life, brother.
It really is. And it's so, unfortunately, a lot of us have to get knocked down and dragged through the mud. We have to experience that defeat, that embarrassment, that dishonor and within ourselves to truly unlock that because we take it for granted.
Oh, man.
So, for me, like when I got done playing baseball, I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I went through a depressive state in
Yeah.
terms of how do I define my own success now? There's nothing like being on the mound and striking a guy out and your teammates rallying behind you and everything else.
Yeah.
How do you replicate that even in a boardroom setting, which I brought up before? Like, I'm not getting pats on the butt and high fives from people that are saying, great job on your presentation, man. Your ring's in the mail, all these things. Like, you don't get that. So how do you define that success, the inner beast that is just roaring inside you at times? And a lot of times it's when you've gone through the worst, it's that dark moment. And now there's like, why was I afraid to speak up before when I needed help? Why was I
Yeah.
afraid to do something for someone else when they needed help? Why was that? Why are those barriers set in front of me because of social society or the feeling of being embarrassed? That person in the boardroom that's afraid to spark some sort of innovation because they have a great idea, but they're afraid to talk because they've been shut up, or they're trained to basically not say anything. And when you hit that moment of darkness, all of a sudden now I can relate to your feeling of pain. I can see myself sitting in that room, huddled up with just my underwear on or whatever, and feeling that dark pain of what the hell am I supposed to do with the rest of my life? How am I supposed to live and get out of this room? But I don't want to be in here anymore. So, you know what? I'm going to stand up. I'm going
Mm.
to break that damn door down and I'm going to take a step out. And when you
Yeah.
feel that sunshine, man, there I am. I'm the beast. And now nobody's going to stop me. Right. And talking to you, man, you make me want to. There's only been a few people that I've ever said this about. Sue Enquest, which was the softball coach at UCLA. She's a power speaker. You make me want to run through a wall for you and run as hard as I can to just try to be as good of a person as I can and share that love, because there's your love, right? That's the action item.
That's
That,
it.
that's what we need to talk about. We need that communication. We need people to hear these stories of adversity. But when,
I'm gonna tell you, brother,
yeah,
we are a tribe. We are a tribe, and we are men. And you give me a man that has seen some hell. You give me a man who's seen some darkness. You give me that guy.
yeah,
You know, I mean, it's one. I mean, look, I have utmost respect for people that have accomplished a lot of great things in different areas and aspects of life. But I'll tell you, there's a place that some people and I have found, and I thought it was just a game for most of my life. I thought it was a joke, or I thought it was just a saying, hell on earth. there is a place. There is a place that is hell on earth. And I wouldn't prescribe it to anyone. But I also think that we're really, really good at wearing a lot of different masks. We've got a mask for when we meet this group. Then we put on another mask when we go for Sunday. Then we got another mask for the Monday morning group. Then we got another mask for our wife. We get another mask for our kids. We got another mask for our high school friends. Another mask for this group. I get it. I mean, I do get it. I get it. But I'll tell you, the most beautiful place I think somebody can be is not only authentic and genuine, but also in a place where they truly have found the greatest gift. And the greatest gift, I challenge anyone, is when you know that you've helped another person, that you've genuinely helped another person. That, my friend, I've seen, like you have, I've had a lot of different experiences, but there's just something about that. And I believe that's what we're here for. I believe that that's the reason why either the guardian angels, or you can call it grace, or you can call it, some people want to call it luck, but I chunked that out the window a long time ago. I've broken 19 bones in head-on collisions. I've OD'd. I've shot in the head with a 9mm. Depression. They're on medication. I've just seen it. But I've also seen the other side. I've seen what it feels like and looks like. And I know how much I appreciated the one or two men that believed in me, that loved me. I don't know. I'm speechless. I can say that there is, people say, well, why are you here? Or what do you do with it? You know what? If you just helped one,
yeah,
you have no idea. You have no idea what that one really means. That one probably will end up manifesting into other relationships that were helped, breaking generational cycles, generations to come. It's that starfish story and the old man and the kid, and right. Thousands being up there. Well, why do you even bother? Well, to that one, it mattered.
And it's not just a quick fix help. It's a religious help. It's being persistent with help. It's not just, hey, Clay, man, how you doing today? Okay, I'll talk to you next week. It's not that. It's, hey, Clay, let's go. Let's set some goals. Let's get you up on your feet. What can I do for you? What can I do for you nonstop? And I'll tell you, man, I've got some angels amongst me, I call them my pals. You're my pal. Like, it's people that literally are just, they're there for you genuinely, and they don't want to see you in that dark place anymore. So they're persistent. They'll call you, even a text message every day, like, hey, what's up? How's it going? Hey, you want to talk later? They take the time. I got a buddy I can call anytime. I got a number of buddies, but really I got probably 3 or 4 that are legitimately there. And when I call, they're like, hey, you okay? Yeah, I'm all right. I just wanted to talk to you for a minute. Yo, hold on. And they'll step outside. Regardless, what are you doing right now? Oh, I'm getting ready to eat dinner. No, go down and sit down. No, hold on. Are you okay? What's going on? Talk to me. Dinner can wait. I can be there for you. So
that part.
You're hitting it, man. Yeah.
That part. And it's like, I have victory now, like why, people say, I've had corporations. I was a corporate trainer, 2 private jets, flew around a little bit there at the end. I guess you could say I was decent at it. And the reason I was good at it is because I genuinely have a passion for it. I genuinely have a passion for people, and I just love the dynamics of people and their personalities and why we do what we do. But people say, well, why are you doing what you're doing now? Basically, what they're asking is, why have you turned down $500,000? Why have you turned down all these big offers? Well, I mean, because I've already been there and bought the t-shirt, the
Mm.
stuff, the stuff, the stuff. I'm telling you, it's not in the stuff. It's in life is in the pursuit of your meaningful mission. I mean, your purpose. Why and look, your purpose can change. Your purpose changes, can very well change in seasons of your life. When you're young, up to 25, my purpose is to grow in business. Then you get married and have a child. Oh, now my purpose, I want to be the best husband and father I can be. Child gets a little bit older. Now the mom and dad might be getting sick or some type of illness. In other words, allow it some breathing room and some allow it to change. But the greatest of all is these kind of conversations. And like with I Have Victory Now,
Yeah.
a 1 hour counseling session or a fly by night go and talk to inpatient treatment facilities, they don't work. We forget half of what we hear in about an hour.
That's
We
right.
forget about 75-80% of what we hear in about 24 hours. We're going to forget about 98 to 98% of what we hear inside of 10 days. And what that means to you and me is that the spouse, the man, they say, we're going to send them away to get them fixed. And 94+% of the time, nothing's changed because you're in a bubble of a program. You're not around the euphoric recall that you're
Mm.
having in real time. You're not in real time dealing with feelings and emotions, trauma, old thought patterns, people, places, and things. Lance Dodds, if you don't mind me reading just one
Yeah.
quote.
Yeah.
Lance Dodds nailed something of Harvard that I knew this about 10 years ago, but Lance Dodds nails it. This is what he says. Did you know that AA, a majority of the rehab therapies, these are his words, Dr. Lance Dodds, psychiatrist for Harvard. He's Harvard's addiction psychiatrist that's treated tens upon thousands. This is what he says. Did you know that AA and the majority of rehabs and therapies and programs in America only yield about a 7.5% success rate? Harvard's Dodds confirms this and states Alcoholics Anonymous was proclaimed the correct treatment for alcoholism 75 years ago, despite the absence of any scientific evidence, and has been on the wrong path ever since, writes Dodds. Today, almost every treatment center, physician, and court system in the country uses this model. Yet, it has one of the worst success rates in all of medicine, hardly better than no treatment at all. And Dodd says the 12 steps, the rehabs and therapies in America not only help few, very few, but they can also be harmful for many.
Mm.
Now, I read you that because that's the battle I faced for more than 12 years.
Wow.
I knew that I had the intellect. I knew I had the grit. I knew I had the willpower. I knew I wanted to stop. Here's the key. The key is to understand your adversary. I mean,
Mm.
if you're going to go to war, any good
Yeah.
general, first thing he's going to do, the first thing you do in anything, baseball, firefighters, police, whatever it is, we step back. We know our enemy. We know our enemy well. So I knew, and I mean, I've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
Psychologists, counselors send me private counsel from 50, 60 miles away, right on in, locally as well. But I was like, why don't I take the same methodologies that's over 90% successful? Let's make it virtual. I'm going to sign a peak performance coach, which will be me or one of two or three other counselors that are specialized in this area. And let's put some wheels on this thing and help men by the thousands. And
Go.
my wife, is going to be sending the spouse at the same time. The spouse will be getting at least 5, but probably 6 to 7 messages on overcoming resentment,
Oh, that's
how
so
to
important.
yeah,
Man, yes.
forgiveness, and how to give the man in the relationship a clean slate. In other words, speaking to the man as the new man. Here's just one of a multitude of the
So
problems
important.
that these current treatments give. Imagine raising your hand and declaring you've got a freaking disease and you're an alcoholic, but yet you're there to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist. I'm not a geologist. I'm not a historian. I'm not an engineer. What I am is an expert when it comes to helping men with hurts, habits, hangups, but more especially addiction issues, especially with alcohol. And
Amen.
all the degrees in the world and passing tests, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's the same difference as sitting in a classroom, taking tests and passing tests about, I mean, anything. Let's just say it's automotive technician. Let's just say it's being a doctor. You pass a bunch of tests, you got some paper on the wall, which I do. You got some paper on the wall, but you've never actually talked to anyone. And you don't have any experience with it yourself.
Yeah.
What good are you? Oh, I mean, all you're doing is regurgitating information out of a book, and the person can see right through it.
You bring up such a valid number of points, and it comes down to being relatable too and understanding things, right? So
That's it.
in that forward thinking, I know what I'm encountering. I know my adversary. I know what I need to do. I'm going to study this, and then I'm going to be able to attack it in multiple fronts. But you hit on a couple amazing points. If you're with a partner and you have a spouse or you have children, there's nothing there. You as the individual are put out into this, oh, you need help, you're going to go do this by yourself. There's nothing there to support when you get home what you just went through. And now the change in your life on what you're trying to achieve and the man you're trying to become, that has to be educated to the family, the people at home, your
Yep.
friends. They have to understand that road that you're on, that beast, going through any type of trauma or drug
Yep.
addiction. And I can't speak on drug addiction. I can't speak
No,
on
but you're
alcoholism,
nailing it.
but on the trauma piece,
Yes,
that's a
sir.
fucking hard road to try to
Yes,
hit.
sir.
Every day it's hard. When you get out of therapy and you get in your car and you're by yourself and it's the one moment where you can just let it go and you're crying on
Yep.
the way home. Nobody understands that. And then, like you
Nope.
said, all right, I'm going to put my other mask on. I'm going to be the dad. I'm going to be the husband. I'm going to act like nothing bothers me when it's killing me inside. It would be awesome if there was a platform like yours that just blow this up, man, because that just in itself with your wife going and speaking or giving educational information on what we are going through and how they can help us nurture along, that's the recipe. The other piece,
There's
yeah,
there's over a 42. Now,
man,
this is what I've documented, and this is also documented
awesome.
by several other people that are doing this privately. We're tracking around 40, 41, 42%. It's ranging between 42 and 40% higher success rates with the spouse understanding your husband. Number one, separate your husband from your husband drinking. Your husband is a person who has drank. Your husband's not an alcoholic. Your husband is a person who excessively drank. In other words, uh, what someone does is not who they are. It's a behavior.
That's right.
And I
It
mean, like, for
changes.
example, pornography. I mean, I wouldn't look at somebody and say, "Oh, hi, how are you, Mr. Pornography?" I mean, how are you, Mr. In other words, you're a human being that has been excessively using alcohol. Now, when you look at it and you nailed it, when you dig down and understand, was it success, peer pressure? Was it trauma, childhood trauma, quite often?
Yeah.
You have to dive in a little bit deep there. It takes a little bit. Get in there and understand what's the most traumatic time or point of time ever for that person. Have them write it down. Have them bring it to the table, put it in the light, take its power away from it, realize it's an event. It's an event. How long do you want that event to determine your day and your actions? You have to start out with believing that you can, work on that part, forgiveness, forgiveness of self or someone else.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
Feelings. Now, hold on. Feelings. 90+% of America and the world is driven and ran by feelings. Waiting for motivation, waiting on a feeling. Discipline, however, discipline, when we inject some discipline into that person who's feeling defeated, why do they feel defeated? Because they've told themselves now for a year, 2, 5 years, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to moderate this drinking. They've made contracts with themselves they've repeatedly failed to keep. They have no self-esteem, no self-confidence. They've got a mask that says they do, but deep down, their self-esteem is shot. Start them out with very small things, from making your bed to whatever time you say you're going to get up, you don't hit the snooze, to starting out with a 30, 45, 50-minute walk, to drinking a cup of water. Do a little bit of meditation, do a little bit of journaling, watch your 15, 17-minute message. I've got 49 of them on the different aspects of belief, forgiveness, feelings. What happens is this. The world, and we're fixing to see it happen, January 1, everybody's going to go join the gym. 9 out of 10 quit within 90 days. Why, Clay? Why does that happen? I'm going to tell you what happens. 100% of the world wants a lean, mean machine of a body, right? The ones like me and you in baseball, me in business. Discipline brings the feelings of satisfaction and self-worth and esteem. The discipline brings it. The world is training people to wait on motivation, wait on your feelings. If your feelings and motivation don't say go to the gym today, Todd, then you just don't go. No, man. You decide this day. And here, to blow another one wide open, and I mean, there's so many lies we've been told. Here's another one. Todd, it takes 21 days to create a habit. Or the other one from Cybergenics or whatever, back 40, 50 years ago, he come out with that. Then another one, 60 days to build a habit. Here's the raw data. The raw data is 18 days to 254 days is how long it takes to lay some new synapses, to lay some new patterns in the brain to establish a habit. You can establish a habit of drinking a cup of water before breakfast a whole lot faster than doing 100 sit-ups after breakfast. Mm-hmm. Here's the point. Having a good coach, having someone that loves you, you could call an accountability partner, having a team and a group, someone that's been there and bought the t-shirt, having discipline, having goals, giving yourself a break to understand, hold on a minute, I don't naturally feel motivated to wake up and go work out. But Clay shared with me the raw data is it could take 254 days for me to actually want to do it.
Put it in front of you. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're going to talk to people and you're going to coach people, it needs to be on a growth mindset and not this fallacy and this absolutely empty success mind trap that most of the world is on. It's not about the award. It's not about losing the 25 pounds when it comes to going to the gym. Say to yourself this, it's not about the 25 pounds. It's about living and being healthy.
That's right.
If I love myself, I'll discipline myself. Discipline is the greatest form of self-love, by the way. If I love my family, I say I love my family. I say I die for my children. I die for my wife. If you would die for them, I challenge you to live for them.
That's right.
And what does that mean? That means get disciplined. God made you a man. I mean a man. not a beta, not all this other stuff that we get. Not just people confused, man. You're a man, man, and a man is a man is a man. You may not be quite as type A or quite as this or quite as that, but you're a man. Discipline, honor, honesty, integrity, those things are earned, and you'll have the self-esteem and you'll have the confidence it's going to take to not only conquer alcohol, but to conquer anything in life.
That's
You'll
right.
develop that and rebuild that one small step at a time. And it starts with something as simple as making the bed, journal, wake up at the time that you say you're going to wake
That's
up.
such a good point.
Start there.
Yep.
Then
Routine.
dive into, I'm not going to the gym to lose 25 pounds or have the big guns. I'm going there to be healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to this social gathering for influence or to make all these connect. I'm going for relational health. I'm not going to church or going here or going that. I'm going for my spiritual health. Mentally speaking, seeing I Have Victory Now, reading. Look, 120,000 self-help books on the planet with 15,000 being published a year. Can I tell you where we start with I Have Victory Now?
Wow. Emotional intelligence 2.0.
And you know, I've asked enough. Now, mind you, look, I've got all the big ones now, the Think and the Grow Rich, and I've also wrote a bunch of books. Here's your Jordan Peterson. I mean, I've got all the great ones out there. But the greatest place to start, self-awareness.
Yeah.
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 What am I strong at and what am I weak at? You know?
You're speaking it. I mean, one of the biggest things I always disliked about some of these weight loss programs and things like that, I've always been a bigger guy. In fact, I went into spring training one time. I was over the weight in terms of what my height and size should look like, right? And they're like, "You're on the Fat Boy program." And I'm like, "Why am I on the Fat Boy program? Like, I'm in shape." And they're like, "No, you're not in shape." I go, "I'll run. What do you want me to run a mile under?" And they're like, 6 minutes. So the next day I ran a mile in like 4:35 or whatever, just blew it all away. And I go,
Really?
"Okay, I'm not in the Fat Boy Club anymore." I was in shape. I've always been a big bone guy. But
Big man.
what I've always disliked about the apps and whatnot is one of the first questions they ask is, "What's your goal weight?" Well, okay, right off the bat, you're making me think about this 50-pound, 40-pound, 30-pound, 25-pound barrier. How the heck am I going to get to that point when I'm struggling to even lose 1 pound? So what you're saying is create the routine, gain the discipline to just go and
Watch
just
this.
be there, right?
Watch this.
All that's going to happen.
Create, and we do, and I've done this with hundreds of men, and now we're moving into the thousands because we're going to take it there.
Yeah.
One day, one day, or imagine sacrificing your feelings and yourself for 90 days, 30 days to be the highest and best you. The key is, if you can do it one day, if you can do it one morning, it's repeatable.
That's right.
It can and it will be done. Pretend for a second pretend you're my caregiver and you're responsible for Clay. And Todd had to prescribe for Clay for me to have the best life I could have. What would you prescribe me do? Would you prescribe that I have a set sleeping pattern, 7 to 9 hours, so I have a good circadian rhythm, so that way I'm not like 75-80% of America and sleep deprived? Therefore, look, that right there could solve the excessive alcohol issue right there. Sleep. What about 75-80% being dehydrated? Would you prescribe that Clay drink 50% ounces versus body weight in water? Would you prescribe D3? Mind you, that controls a whole lot of our emotions. 60% of America, D3 deficient. Why? We spend 1, 2, 3% of our lives in the sunlight, and we were designed to be outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's my point. If Todd were Clay's caregiver, what would Todd prescribe I read? What would Todd
Mm.
prescribe that I allow with great intentionality? What would you tell Clay? Would you say, Clay, with great intention, I only want you to allow these things in your ears and in your eye ports? Would you prescribe positive things? Would you prescribe me to have a good sleep regimen? Would you prescribe vitamins and water? Would you prescribe exercise each day? I'm not talking about 5 hours of exercise and
Right.
getting in there benching 500 pounds. I'm talking about, would you prescribe 30 to 45 minutes an hour of exercise? Here's my point. We need to look at ourselves and prescribe that for ourselves. We need to take a look at ourselves. And if we truly love others, the Bible says it this way: love your brother as you love yourself.
Mm. Yeah.
It's impossible for me to have the strength to love you and to do what I've been called to do on this side of eternity if I'm not taking care of myself.
Amen.
And look, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, you're literally going uphill. I've never seen an accidental success story. I've
No.
never seen an
No.
accidental, I've never seen a person in great physical, mental, or relational or spiritual health. I've never seen a person in great mental, physical, spiritual, or relational health by accident.
Yeah. But Clay,
There's a plan.
you hit it a long time ago when you were talking about your own sense of depression and where you were at in that dark place where you didn't want to look in the mirror for 10 to 12 days because you didn't want to see that person. And in that moment, when you want change, when it's going to happen,
Mm.
you have to will yourself to look up and pay attention to the man you are and see the man that's inside and let that beast out. And you, everything you're preaching right now is so spot on. You got to take care of yourself. You need to believe in yourself. You have to uplift yourself, pin your shoulders back, bow your chest up. You don't have to be the strongest man in the world. You don't have to be the most communicative man in the world. You can be in that moment, but take care of yourself. Take
What
that
people are
step
finding,
forward, right?
men are finding themselves in this place with society, the morality, with us drifting away from the solid core precepts of honesty, integrity, discipline, commitment. As we drift from those sound principles, what happens is this: the man's looking at himself in the mirror, and this is another hell on earth experience. When you look in the mirror, I'm not talking about for 5 seconds. I'm talking about the 5 minute look. I'm talking about go
Yep.
into that mirror right
Yep.
now and look in that mirror. Give me 2 or 3 minutes, and I want you to write down and I want you to tell me who and what you see. Hell on earth is looking in that mirror, knowing that I haven't been everything that I could have been, and I'm not being everything I know I can be.
Mm.
You don't have to stay trapped in that position. I refuse. Look, I can't help everybody on the planet, but the ones that'll commit, the ones that come on board, I promise you this: I'm not in the business of letting people fail. If you want it, if you want to go to a higher level in your life, alcohol is a symptom. Alcohol is a symptom. It's not the problem. If it's solving you in the afternoons and it makes you feel better, if it's solving your anxiety being in social gatherings, if it's solving that trauma that you want to forget that you can't, what is it that you like about yourself better with a chemical in it? What is it about yourself that you don't love and like more completely sober? My God, what a
Wow.
question.
Wow.
And 1 in 8 Americans is dealing with it right now. And I was one of them. When I look in the mirror, my whole identity was in accomplishments.
Mm.
And when that was taken, I was taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only way I found my way out of those woods is I had to look at what the creator, the Alpha and Omega, had
Hmm.
to say about me. And
Mm.
what he said is son, you're made in my image and you're made in my likeness. I have made you. Listen now, I fearfully and wonderfully made you. In fact, I call you, I consider you my masterpiece of
Yeah.
all creation. There has never been another one of you. There never will be another one of you. And I've put a divine purpose, a meaningful mission. I put something deep down in your heart and in your mind that you just can't shake it. It keeps coming back up. You keep thinking about it. You can't let it go. The time is now to get started on expressing that purpose that's been placed inside of you. It's bigger than yourself. It's way bigger than yourself. And it always has something to do with helping other people.
Oh man, you're just so right. You don't have to wait for that moment. It
No?
starts immediately. Go in, look yourself in that mirror. What do you see? Make that change
Yes.
if you need to. And I'm a huge faith believer, as you well know, and as you are. And I turn to that. I know I'm bonded to God. I know that I've got that
Yeah.
forged steel. We are bonded side by side. I walk with
Yes.
Him. I have that strength. I believe in it. I'm willing it. And you are too.
I know.
I can't wait to introduce you to some of my other pals.
And
Like,
I tell you,
you're just awesome, man.
I told my wife, I said, I met Todd today and it's just it's his spirit, it's his soul, it's who he is as a man. I said I wept. I
Mm.
shed a tear out of just sheer joy. Maybe it's love. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's I'm seeing and I'm hearing your heart and your love and your compassion. But with love, that heart and compassion also comes strength. There
That's right.
comes fire, and there
Mm.
comes a time to put your foot down, and enough is enough is enough. We are our brother's keeper. And
Right.
sometimes you just have to be that rock for somebody else. And then they in turn, they become the rock for somebody else.
That's right.
That's the
Pass
way
it
it
forward.
happens. Yes, sir.
I'm going in, right? I'm
I
going
love it.
into this. You got to do it. So thank you so much.